Good morning. Can you hear me? Loud enough now? I think it's on. So before I start, I just wanted to announce that the welcoming committee meeting, which is scheduled for, it's not?
It's on.
It is on. Well, you're hearing impaired, you're hiding.
We're gonna, no, you just continue. I'm gonna tweak the little thing over there.
I just wanted to announce that the welcoming committee meeting, which is scheduled for after the service, is going to be postponed till next week in the interest of letting people get home. So, good morning. Welcome to the Keene Unitarian Universalist Church, or KUUC. Please also turn around and greet those attending on YouTube. My name is Rebecca McCoy, and I've been a UU since 1993. I've been coming to KUUC for about a year and a half, and I've been a member since last May. Since I found the spiritual community, I have served on the Archives Committee, the Welcoming Committee, and I am co-chair of the Worship Committee. I'm proud that KUUC is certified by the Unitarian Universalist Association as a welcoming congregation and a green sanctuary. The thing I most appreciate about KUUC is that it is a community that prioritizes kindness and connection. We are delighted you are here, especially this morning. Whether you are here or watching us from home on our YouTube live stream, whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. We hope you will find something in our service today that proves useful in your daily life and provides you with hope, grace, and energy for the week ahead. If you're new here or just feeling new, we are glad you are here. Each week, we designate an ambassador. They are here today to help you get to know our church, our faith, our community. Today, our ambassador is Wynn Sargent. Wynn, would you stand up? Thanks. We also invite you to sign the guest book, which is located right now back on the table in the back corner. We hope you'll join us for coffee or tea here in the parish hall following the service. We do have coffee and whatever, but we understand that people might not want to stay real long. Lastly, we welcome all children in our services. We believe that the sounds they make are sacred. Your cell phones, however, we appreciate more when they are silenced, so now's the time to do that. Our minister, Rowan Van Ness, is away from the pulpit on maternity leave until February 1st, and her first service back will be February 8th. We are so grateful to have Reverend Lane Fisher from the Peterborough UU Church as our service leader. Lane holds a bachelor's degree from the University of Minnesota in journalism and a Master of Divinity from Starr King School for the Ministry in Berkeley, California. Ordained in 2020, she had previous careers as a journalist and editor and as a professional dog trainer. We welcome Lane to our church.
I need to wave my hands while I talk, so I'm going to try the mic stand. You'll tell me if it works. I've forgotten how much that bass adds. Thank you so much. Good morning, friends. I'm the Reverend.
Use your Oscar voice.
Okay, thank you. I'm the Reverend Lane Fisher. I use she, her pronouns, and as Rebecca said, it's my privilege to serve the people of the Peterborough Unitarian Universalist Church. Last time I was here, many of you were at Ferry Beach for the weekend, and today someone arranged grizzly cold temperatures with a blizzard moving in. And yet both times I felt so warmly welcome, and I thank you for that. A few more words about me. I came to Peterborough from Mid-Coast, Maine, where I have 45 years worth of friendships, but I grew up in Minnesota. So it is breaking my heart to watch what is happening right now in both of my home states. Whatever your personal histories, I suspect it's breaking your hearts as well and possibly scaring you, which is not inappropriate. We need to support one another at all times, and especially in times like these. We have placed love at the center of Unitarian Universalism, and we wonder, what does love ask of us? What does love demand of us? I think the answer is somewhat different. Not altogether, but somewhat, if you're on the ground in Minnesota or Maine today. But here, we are going to consider one piece of what love asks of us in our personal relationships and encounters. And so, holding for a moment our broken or frightened hearts, let's center ourselves with words by the poet Rosemary Watola Traumer. This is titled All This, after the killing of Renee Nicole Good. Into the woods I carried my broken heart, knowing it rhymed with millions of other broken hearts. And there, in the silence of spruce trees and new snow and cloudless blue sky, the heart gaped with its relentless ache. I so deeply loved the world, and I was so terribly upset by the world. All this. The snow was impossibly peaceful. It softened every broken rock, broken stick. I felt at the same time the raw wound of injustice and the infinitude of primeval peace, both of them saying, remember, remember, remember. All this. We are not alone, friends. Let us worship together. Barbara Bryce, who is going to have to, yes, good, hi Barbara, will light our chalice as we say together the words that are in your order of service. We kindle this flame to remind ourselves of the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment. Donna's going to tell us how to sing our first hymn, number 188.
Good morning. So, Come, whoever you are, is a four-part round. So I'm going to ask that part one be right in front here with Jim, you all, and Sherry, Kim, part two back in the back, part three up here in the front, and part four in the back. So basically we'll say it once through all together.
Which number are we?
Yes, 4.
Thank you.
Yes, 4. Thank you. So we'll sing it once through, and then we'll sing it 3 times through for a round.
Our Time for All Ages is a story titled God's Hat by the Reverend Christopher Buse. It's based on an African legend that the Reverend Buse heard third hand, and he says all of the details are of his own invention. There is a point in this story where a village just disintegrates into yelling at one another. So I'm going to invite you all to participate at that moment. I'll motion to you. It'll be cathartic, just get into pretending. So when that moment comes, you will know what to do, or you'll just make it up on the fly, but I'm going to tell you that this side is the Reds and this side is the Blues, okay? It doesn't mean what you think it means. Okay. Once upon a time, there was a village with a road that went straight through the center of town. One day, something strange happened. God walked down the road, and she was beautiful. All the people stopped to stare at God as she walked by, and they kept staring until she disappeared into the distance. Boy, God sure was beautiful, said one man, and that was an amazing blue hat she had on. Yes, God was beautiful, said a woman from the other side of the street, but it wasn't a blue hat she was wearing, it was a red hat. You are wrong, said the man. It was definitely a blue hat. No, you are wrong, said the woman. It was definitely a red hat. And so the two argued. And as they did, others joined the dispute. Soon, the whole village was arguing. All of the people on one side of the road were certain that God was wearing a blue hat, and all of the people on the other side of the road were absolutely certain that God was wearing a red hat. People got mad and started screaming at each other. Red Finally, the people got so angry that they decided to build a wall that went straight down the center of Main Street. From that point on, the people on one side of the wall were enemies of the people who lived on the other side of the wall, and they never spoke to each other. On one side of the wall, the people built a church that worshiped a God that wore a blue hat. On the other side of the wall, the people built a church where they worshiped a God who wore a red hat. Many years passed, and the people still were enemies. Then, one day, God came walking back through the village, beautiful as ever. She was smiling and balancing on top of the wall that the people had built many years ago. This time, she was wearing no hat at all. All of the people ran to the wall and cried, "You must settle our argument." "Yes," said one man, "the people on that side of this street say that you walked through the village many years ago wearing a blue hat. But we know better. We know that you were wearing a red hat. So tell us, God, what color was your hat?" God looked puzzled for a moment and began to scratch her head and thought. "I think I remember the day I walked through this village many years ago. And on that day, I believe I was wearing my favorite hat, which is blue on one side and red on the other." And saying nothing more, God continued walking down the wall until she disappeared off in the distance. It was very quiet for a moment. Suddenly, there was the sound of a child laughing. Then another child started laughing, and another, and soon the whole village was roaring with laughter. Everyone was laughing because they realized how foolish they had been. As the laughter grew louder and louder, the wall began to shake and crumble until finally it came tumbling down to the ground. For many, many years, the people told the story of God's hat, how laughter had torn down the wall between a divided and foolish people, and the story lives on today. Our recessional? Generosity is a spiritual practice. Being able to support what we love or what feeds us is a gift to us. This morning's offering will now be given and gratefully received. Every church does it a little differently. For all of the ways that you give to this congregation and this community, we give thanks. Please join in saying, well, I'll say them. Or do we all say them? We all say them? We dedicate these gifts in service of Cape Mission to actively create compassionate community and work for a fair and peaceful world. Beautiful. Will you join me in the spirit of prayer? We'll follow it directly with a meditative silence in which you can quietly add the prayers of your own heart. Spirit who has many names, one of which is love. We gather this morning in gratitude for this congregation and community, for warmth that is physical, emotional, and spiritual. We carry gratitude for food on our tables, for shelter, for friends who will help when we need it. We are grateful for all of the ways that we may share our gifts with others. Support us in learning to ask for help as an affirmation of our shared worthiness and dignity, and never with shame. Help us to discover new ways to reach out to all in our community. We pray this morning for loving energies to surround those who live amid violence, suffer illness or pain, or live in fear. We hold those who are grieving and all who face the end of this life. Spirit of love, we ask that you fill us this hour and throughout our days so that we may be vessels of love in our hurting world. We ask these things in the spirit of all we hold as sacred. Amen, and blessed be.
Kumbaya, my Lord, Kumbaya. Kumbaya, my Lord, Kumbaya. Kumbaya, my Lord, Kumbaya. Oh Lord, Kumbaya. Someone's crying, Lord, Kumbaya. Someone's crying, Lord, Kumbaya. Someone's crying, Lord, Kumbaya. Oh Lord, Kumbaya. Someone's singing, Lord, Kumbaya. Someone's singing, Lord, Kumbaya. Someone's singing, Lord, Kumbaya. Oh Lord, Kumbaya. Someone's praying, Lord, Kumbaya. Someone's praying, Lord, Kumbaya. Someone's praying, Lord, Kumbaya. Oh Lord, Kumbaya.
Our reading is from Frederick Buechner's book, The Alphabet of Grace. What I see when I look at a tree is less what it actually is than simply the name I name it by. When I was a child, what I saw when I looked at a tree was something naked in its mystery, as I was naked in mine. in our brief reading. That when we presume to know what something is, we see less of it than is really present. We risk depriving ourselves of the greater mystery. That children hold a sense of mystery that we as adults often neglect to carry. A memory from when I was 3 years old surfaced as I prepared this service. I was sitting on one side of a wire fence, staring up at 3 steers who were pastured on our property, and one of whom I suspect wounded up on our table the following year. Anyway, I was sitting on the ground staring up, and all 3 of them were staring back at me, all of us with big wide open eyes like children staring at each other on the first day of kindergarten. We studied each other for a long time. In 3-year-old time, that might mean a whole minute. I was wondering what they were thinking and feeling, and they were wondering. I'm not sure what really was going on inside of those big heads. I have no idea, but they were definitely curious. To my great surprise, I learned recently that curiosity does not peak when we're 3 years old and asking why at least once a minute. Is anyone familiar with the Greater Good Science Center at UC Berkeley? Go home and Google it. Greater Good. It's a group of social scientists at UC Berkeley, obviously, who study the science of feeling good. They document what makes us feel good, what changes our biochemistry for the better or for the worse, and what happens when we do good in the world. I've been following Greater Good since Hope magazine was publishing, so we're talking a quarter of a century. When Greater Good adapted 2 published surveys about curiosity and sent them to all of their readers, the researchers found that curiosity peaks when people are in their 30s, way after the age of 3. And then it doesn't drop, it plateaus. So any of you who happen to be over 40, you don't need to feel left in the dust by those, 30-year-old youngins. It's amazing to me that instead of dropping, curiosity stays at that same level, even into the 70s and 80s. That's as far as they studied. And that is wonderful news because curiosity is good for us. Higher levels of curiosity correlate with longer, healthier lives, perhaps because curiosity leads to greater engagement with life. I want this for you, but it's not why I'm talking about curiosity today. I'm talking about curiosity because our nation is a village divided with people shouting red, blue, and far worse across political and social divides. And I'm convinced that exercising curiosity is one of those wonderfully simple, though challenging things that anyone can do to improve our world little by little. This week, I revisited a 2019 Soul Matters packet that was focused on curiosity. And there I discovered, or perhaps rediscovered, you know how it is, Jubilee Middle Grounds Project, which brings groups of people, they're still doing it, groups of people together who are very likely to disagree to explore whether they have any common ground. So some examples of the kinds of groups that they would put together include Black Lives activists and law enforcement officers, religious conservatives and atheists, and people, most recently, people who are for and against mass deportation. The responses to the moderator's questions were extremely interesting. But truthfully, I did not witness much of what I would call curiosity. Mostly, I saw people who couldn't wait to tell the other side why that side was wrong and theirs was right. And isn't that the problem? That when we have deep disagreement with someone, we aren't looking to find common ground as much as to persuade the other camp that they're badly mistaken. And of course they are. In your mind, but their mind is working differently. And telling other people that they're mistaken never is effective. It never works. The more we tell someone that they're wrong, the more resistance we create, leading to deeper discord and walls in the center of our villages. What might have played out in our time for all ages if someone had expressed curiosity, as in, what does it mean that half of our town believes they saw something that I didn't see? What does it mean that these good people experience God so differently than I did? What is it that makes a person think that immigrants are a threat to his well-being? In any difference of opinion, we can start by acknowledging that we are not always right. Monica Guzman, author of I Never Thought of It That Way, tells of a lecture that the philosopher David Smith gave called Civil Conversation in an Angry Age. Smith opened his lecture by asking if it were safe to assume that each of the participants was wrong about something. They nodded. Well, that alone should lend itself to some humility and willingness to listen, said Smith. And then he pitched another question. Which do you value more, the truth or your own beliefs? Mm-hmm. Because if we're not infallible, our beliefs are not always going to be the truth. And if I value my beliefs more than the truth, said Smith, I'm going to defend myself to the death. So why would I listen to you? Guzman continues in her own words, to be most useful and alive, our opinions, particularly our political opinions, must be in curious conversation with each other. When we're divided, politics feels like it's exclusively about stopping the other side. But at its core, politics is about how we coexist wisely, how we create societies that support us in all of our different priorities and preferences. End of quote. She recommends offering our own opinions as snapshots, something captured that might change. As in, well, here's where my head's at right now. And of course, listening, even and especially when we become impatient. When you're really itching to offer a comment on someone's opinion, make yourself ask one more question first, writes Guzman, who is director of digital and storytelling at Braver Angels, the nation's larger cross-partisan grassroots organizing organization working to depolarize America right now. Another thing to Google when you get home, Braver Angels. Guzman's recommendation to ask one more question when we're about to fire off our own opinions lands in a tender place for me. I think of a recent governing board meeting at the church I serve where we were discussing whether to introduce ourselves with our preferred pronouns. The request to do so didn't come from me, but I would expected that everyone would share my reaction, which was, of course we should. It's such a simple thing that we can do to hugely support the comfort of trans or non-binary people who visit us or sit in our pews every week. When some of our good and faithful board members expressed a lack of comfort in identifying their pronouns, I was incredulous, and I went swiftly to a place of frustration and judgment. My response was anything but covenantal. Then a younger board member asked what was for me the most important question of the evening, which was whether anyone had ever been in a group where identifying pronouns had been a practice. And half of our board never had been. One, you. I frequently am, so to me this was a commonplace, and it didn't occur to me that it might be a foreign and uncomfortable practice to going on. So they get to listen to the rest of us do it until they get comfortable with it. As philosopher Smith said, so humility is in order. It's impossible for me to imagine how many thousand times I'll need to practice taking a breath and asking one more question before it becomes second nature to do so when I'm taught I did a colon. Or just plain tired. I'm sure it would help to practice asking one more question before I decide to speak when I'm feeling calm and in agreement with people. It's a great place to start practicing. Valerie Kaur, author of Seeing a Stranger, writes, when we think we've reached our limit, wonder, which is her word for curiosity, wonder is the act that returns us to love. Ah, yes. We talked about that in the Blake Covenant. To seek the church we're called. For Kaur, who is one of my heroes, the commitment to practice curiosity is deeply rooted in her spiritual life, in her Sikh upbringing and faith. The foundational teaching of Sikhism is we are all one. This aligns with our Guru affirmation of the interdependent wedge, you think? Kaur's spiritual practice of seeing others as part of the one or part of that interdependent wedge is to tell herself that rather than a stranger, anyone she encountered is a part of herself that she has yet to meet. Again, another thing you can practice going down the street when you're feeling calm. And do it on the good days, and it'll be easier on the hard days. In See No Stranger, Kaur faults herself for having not exercised curiosity during an event that she and her husband led, when a white, straight, evangelical Christian man said he felt like a minority. Kaur rushed to articulate common ground and let everyone, including herself, have what she called a feel-good moment. But later she lamented that she lost the opportunity to explore how he felt like a minority. I quote Kaur, "The purpose of listening across lines of difference is not agreement or compromise, it is understanding. True understanding is not possible unless we risk changing our worldview." This is the spirit of conflict transformation, an approach to conflict that asks for a willingness to listen so deeply that it risks changing how we perceive things. My congregation in Peterborough is just implementing a conflict transformation process, and I'm excited about approaching conflict from the premise that in every interaction, both or all parties contribute to whatever dynamics prevail. I love the idea of approaching conflict as an opportunity to grow an understanding of the world outside my skin. Practice changes our worldview. It changes our brains, too. This is true whether we practice meditation or drawing a gun, whether we practice seeing no stranger or blaming others. Practice shapes the way shapes the way we live. So I'm going to close with a long quote from Kaur on the effect of her practice of exercising curiosity. She writes, "See no stranger has become a practice that defines my relationships. At home, I have to wonder about my son and daughter every day in order to figure out what they need. They change so fast that wondering gives me information for how to care for them in each moment. The day I stop wondering about my husband is the day our marriage starts to die a little. But when I restore my curiosity, I feel our relationship revive and flourish. Out in the world, I notice the unconscious biases that arise in me when I look at the faces on the street or in the news. To practice the art of seeing every one of them as a sister or brother or family member, I say in my mind, 'You are a part of me that I do not yet know.' Through conscious repetition, I am practicing orienting to the world with wonder and preparing myself for the possibility of connection." End of quote. Let us grow in our curiosity, friends. Let us practice curiosity about the parts of ourselves that we do not yet know. May our curiosity affirm the humanity of those with whom we differ and preserve our own humanity. May we bring a child's openness to the mystery that is ever before us. I pray that it will be so. Amen, and blessed be. Our closing hymn will be number 1018. This is a familiar one. Don't be intimidated by the cover of the teal hymnal. But we're going to sing different verses. It's going to be "Come and Go With Me to That Land." There will be questions in that land. There will be loving in that land. And you might, that's in your order of service. You might want to tuck it in your hymnal. Please rise as you're willing and able. Questions?
There'll be questions in that land. There'll be questions in that land. There'll be questions in that land. Where art thou? There'll be questions in that land. There'll be questions in that land. There'll be questions in that land. Where art thou?
Loving.
There'll be loving in that land. There'll be loving in that land. There'll be loving in that land. Where art thou? There'll be loving in that land. There'll be loving in that land. There'll be loving in that land. Where art thou?
Thank you. Please join in our chalice extinguishing words by Elizabeth Searle Jones. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and share with the world until we get together again. Our benediction comes from the Reverend David Breeden. May you live life curious. May you rejoice in the process. May you let go of the rage for control. May you feel the flame and live well. May you every day reimagine reality's map. May you keep exploring, even in the dark places. May you rejoice in the unknown. May you hug uncertainty to you tight. May you live life joyous. May you find the miraculous. May you continuously find gratitude. May you love messiness. May you love yourself. And may you love all you love well and well. So may it be. Go in peace, friends, and return in love.
Being attacked by a tree.
Oh, Shenandoah, I long to hear you away, your rolling river. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to hear you away, I'm bound away, across the wide Missouri. Oh, Shenandoah, I hear you calling away, your rolling river. Oh, Shenandoah, I hear you calling away, I'm bound away, across the wide Missouri. Oh, Shenandoah, I'm bound to leave you away, your rolling river. Oh, Shenandoah, I'll not deceive you away, I'm bound away, across the wide